So we're gonna forget about the intangibles of owning a home, like stability, security, and loving where you live, and truly dive into the math of owning versus renting. Renting is the money you give your landlord every month that you'll never see again. So let's use this example. If you're renting a place that's $2,000 a month, that's $24,000 a year that you will not see again. Now, owning, how we're gonna compare this is we're gonna find out what costs you will not get back from owning a house so that we can compare it to renting. And those costs are gonna be taxes and maintenance and the cost of borrowing money. So to make an apples to apples comparison, we need to figure out how much money we will never get back again from owning. We're gonna use this guy, Ben Felix. He's a Canadian portfolio manager, and he came up with this theory about 4 years ago. I'll link his original video here for you to read, to check it out. But it's about 4 years old, and interest rates have gone up a lot. So I think it's time for us to dive in and see really what the math is. The cost of home ownership is higher as well. So we wanna get everything down to a monthly basis so you can decide which is better for you, renting or buying. So if our monthly cost of owning a home is cheaper than it seems like it would be to buy a house, then maybe renting is gonna be better for you. That's what we're here to help you decide. There are three main costs of home ownership. Number one, property taxes. Number two, maintenance. And number three, your mortgage payment, which will be broken down into opportunity cost and cost of debt. Property taxes are what you pay a percentage of your home's value to your local government, and it's usually the cost of the purchase price, and it's about 1.1% nationally, and it can go up a little bit higher, even to 1.2% in certain areas in San Diego. But for today, we're going to use 1% just to keep the math super easy. So, for example, if you bought a home that cost $700,000, your annual property taxes at 1% are around $7,000 a year. These are paid 2 times a year, and you can choose whether you want to pay them those 2 times, or you can choose an impound account with your mortgage provider that will help you save for those monthly. Those are costs that you will never see again. Once you pay those property taxes, they are gone, and you will never see them again. Okay, another cost that you won't get back necessarily, although sometimes you will, but it's maintenance. And so experts suggest setting aside 1 to 2% of your property's value per year for maintenance costs. Now, it could be higher if your house is older or less if your house is brand new. But we're gonna use the 1% just to make life simple here, okay? So at $700,000 at 1%, that's $7,000 a year, okay? Following me? Pretty simple so far. Now let's get to the mortgage payments. We're gonna take a look at the cost of capital, or what the cost is to borrow money, assuming that you're gonna put 20% down on your $700,000 house. Now you're gonna finance 80% of the value, or $560,000, probably over the course of 30 years. There are 2 things to look at. The down payment is what we're gonna call an opportunity cost. Basically, you are using this money for a home versus putting it into the stock market. So this is known as your opportunity cost. Now, if we look at the S&P 500 data, the return is around 7.19% per year with a 30-year inflation adjustment. Residential real estate here in San Diego has had an average appreciation of 5%. So that's a difference of a 2% between investing in the stock market and using the money for the down payment. So it means if you put $100,000 into stocks, you could be earning 2% more. The second part of the cost capital is the cost of the debt of financial mortgage amount. So, for example, of borrowing $560,000 for today's example at a rate of 7%, that comes to about $39,200 a year. This is a pretty conservative buffer. So your total cost of capital is the opportunity of the down payment plus the cost of the interest payments a year. We're gonna total the opportunity cost of down payment plus the interest payments for the year. This is the total cost we don't get back a year. So we're gonna take this, and which in this case, it's the $2,000, which is the 2% annual interest, plus $39,200, and we'll have a total opportunity cost of $41,200, annually or 5.8%. And if you want to see the math, I'm going to put it in my blog post here and help you guys out, because I know sometimes following these things is a little challenging. All right, so we're going to add everything up. Okay, we talked about property tax, $7,000, 1%. The maintenance cost, $7,000, 1%. The cost of capital, $41,200 at 5.8%. So your total percentage is 7.8%. This is a super quick way to figure out the cost of ownership on a monthly basis. And I'm gonna put all the formulas down below. But the rule is to take the home price, multiply it by the 5.8% we figured out, and then divide it by 12. So for this example, at this case, the homeownership cost on this would be a monthly basis of $4,667 at a 7% interest rate. So if it's cheaper to rent monthly, that's how you can figure it out. You can also grab a free calculator, rent versus buy, by clicking the link below, and it's gonna be able to walk you through all the cool spreadsheets here, and you can put in different numbers and different scenarios to see how it's gonna work for you. This is gonna give you your break-even cost of owning a home and what that would look like for you in a monthly capacity. Now, you guys, this is a super great starting point, but this is not the only thing to consider when you're buying a house versus renting. There's a few other things to consider. This formula is based on only if you're really going to take that money for the down payment and truly put it in the stock market. Now, I don't know about you, but I probably wouldn't do that.